Seating can be one of the most overlooked aspects of any home theater or two-channel hi-fi room. There are a ton of options out there, but what if you're looking for high-end luxury theater seats where comfort is the top priority? Valencia's Tuscany Ultimate Luxury Edition theater seats may just very well fit that bill. What's up guys, Brad here. I am super excited to share this review video with you because, well, spoiler alert, these theater seats are freaking awesome. Now I know, you may have seen other reviews praising these seats too because they are honestly worthy of that praise, but just know that this would not be a review without me mentioning the things that I do think need work, because these seats, while amazing, aren't without a few flaws. Also, I do want to thank Valencia for sending me a pair of theater seats to review. Now, in full disclosure, I do get to keep the seats in exchange for this video review. However, Valencia isn't involved in the production of this video or any other videos I produce about these theater seats, either now or down the road. They don't have any control over what I say in these videos, and they will not be seeing this video until it goes live for everyone on YouTube. Now, while I may get to keep the product in exchange for the time and effort I put into these videos, I do approach all of my reviews as if I paid my own money for the product I'm reviewing and will not alter what my opinion is on something in order to keep it for free. Okay, disclaimer stuff out of the way. Let's dive right in. I want to start out talking about the quality of both the materials and construction of the seats themselves. For a premium price, you'd expect a premium product with excellent craftsmanship, right? And that's exactly what you get here. The seats are 100% covered in matte, super supple, semi-aniline Italian Nappa leather 20,000 and have perforated diamond stitching with a Nappa covered back finisher plate. Now, I'll be the first to tell you that I am far from a leather expert and I kind of don't know what all of that means, but what I can say is the leather used and the stitching done is of extremely high quality when compared to other chairs, seats, and couches around my house. The use of perforated leather helps to keep the leather cool while also helping to keep you cool too, so that's awesome. The quality materials don't just stop at the leather and the stitching though. The armrest storage is also lined with black Parisian velour fabric. It's like a dark void when open. Now, this actually can pose an issue though, which I'll talk about later on in the video. As far as construction quality goes, it feels just as premium and high-end as the leather finish and stitching. Now, during setup and assembly, I never once felt like the seats were poorly put together or that it was going to cause any damage to the structural integrity of the seats when my wife and I were getting them through the door to our theater room. I feel like this carries over to the motors used for the powered recline, headrest, and lumbar support, which are also really smooth when adjusting any of the three settings. The motors themselves feel powerful enough that I don't question how long they'll last, and are actually fairly quiet when compared to other powered recliners I've used in the past. The seats themselves recline pretty far and allow you to lay almost flat, which is honestly pretty awesome. I've slept in these seats. What I actually enjoy here is that combined with the powered headrest, you can recline as far as you want while also keeping your head at a position that gives you the best view of your display without straining your neck, so super awesome there. You can also dial in the lumbar support to better suit your back, which is actually really helpful in preventing back pain if you're binge watching Stranger Things, for example, watching all 3 extended editions of the Lord of the Rings movies back to back, or you're just 5 hours into a Destiny 2 raid. The addition of a memory function definitely comes in handy too. Once you find that sweet spot for everything, long press the I button until you hear a beep. Now, a short press of the I button will return the headrest, lumbar, and recline feature to the exact same sweet spot it was at when you saved it, so super useful. Now, premium feeling leather and construction only go so far though, and the question now is just how comfortable are they? Valencia states on their webpage for the Tuscany Ultimate Luxury Edition that ultimate luxury equates ultimate comfort. So just how true is that statement after having these seats in my home theater for a couple of weeks? Without a doubt, these are one of, if not the most comfortable seats I've ever sat in, bar none. Granted, I've never owned or had theater seats before, so keep in mind this is based on seats I've used in the past, either at home or at a family member or friend's house. However, my wife and I watched the last 2 episodes of Stranger Things back to back recently, which total around 4 hours, and never once did we feel uncomfortable at all. Afterwards, we were both really impressed, not just how comfortable they were the whole time, but also how they were still cool to the touch when we got up. I do think it's worth noting that initially I found them comfortable while also being a tad bit stiff, but Keep in mind, seats and couches do have a break-in period where things start to soften a bit. It's not that it was uncomfortable, not at all. Just expect the softness to go up a notch after 2 or 3 weeks of use. So to quickly sum up what I like about the Tuscany Ultimate Luxury Edition seats, they're super comfortable. The power recline, headrest, and lumbar support make long movies and gaming sessions much more enjoyable. The memory function is a feature that I can't live without now. The armrests have a ton of storage space, which I love. The leather is cool to the touch, even after hours of use. And actually something I don't think I mentioned was the USB Type A and Type C charging ports. I've used that feature pretty much every single time I've used the chairs, and it's another feature of these seats that now that I've experienced it, I don't think I could live without them. And I'm fairly sure they're quick charge as well, as my phone and tablet charge in about the same time as my quick charger does, but I can't verify this, and Valencia actually doesn't mention it on their website from what I've found. Now, things I mentioned in my previous unboxing and setup video, like the LED lighting and black stainless steel removable cup holders, are still super awesome, and I really dig the matte finish on the seats themselves. With all of that said, what do I think needs work or improvement? Are there any glaring issues that I faced or that could pose potential problems? There's actually one potential issue that might affect some people that isn't even Valencia exclusive that I'll talk about near the end. But first, let's go over the things I think could use some improvement. Now, in my previous video about the Tuscany Ultimate Luxury Edition seats, I mentioned and kind of hammered home the fact that I didn't like that the buttons for the powered features aren't backlit, and I still really wish they were. Having spent more time using the seats, I can say that I still find myself fumbling around the buttons trying to remember which one does what. I know that it may be kind of considered a nitpick here, but this is a high-end premium product with a premium price that I guess I would just kind of expect backlit buttons here. I know that it was removed based on feedback from those who own previous incarnations of Valencia seats, but in my opinion, an on-off toggle of some kind for the backlight on the buttons would be one change I wouldn't mind seeing. Now, speaking of lighting, there is one area in these seats that lacks lighting that could really use some, and that is the armrest storage. Now, I love the amount of storage the armrests have, but in a dark room, opening one is like looking into a void of nothingness.
Hi, Georgie. Aren't you going to say hello?
I keep my game controllers on one armrest and remotes in another, so taking them out, I have to kind of go by feel instead of sight. I also want to turn on a light in the room or use a flashlight on my phone. There actually is a spot next to what I believe is the gas spring that would be perfect for a small, focused, downward-facing LED that would illuminate the interior of the armrest without causing too much light spillage outside of the armrest. Again, this is another minor thing, but the addition of something like this would make this already premium-feeling product feel even more premiumer. Words. And honestly, that's kind of it for the things I think need work. There are a couple of things which I'll label as nice to haves, as they would be just that, features that are nice to have. One of those would be some way to link multiple seats together in regards to the LED lighting. Currently, each seat's LED color has to be set individually if you want them all to match, which, depending on how many seats you have and if your OCD is as bad as mine, can kind of be a pain. Having one seat to control them all at once, like a master seat of sorts, would be a nice touch. Another feature that would be nice to have would be the addition of Wi-Fi or smart compatible lighting. Now, being able to control the color of the LEDs from your phone or through voice control using Google or Amazon's product would be super convenient. Now, I know a lot of us, myself included, already have lighting in our theater that is controlled via our voice or a smartphone app, and it would be awesome to have it all kind of synced together. So let's talk about that potential issue I mentioned earlier, and I do want to stress again that this issue is something that affects a lot of theater seats from all different manufacturers, not just Valencia. Okay, so the seats, when fully assembled, have the back of the seat measuring about 43 to 44 inches in height due to how cushy the headrest is. Now, since I have a 5.1.2 Dolby Atmos setup consisting of 5 main speakers or bed channels and 2 overhead speakers or height channels, as a general rule, it's important to keep all the bed channels at or around ear height in a Dolby Atmos setup, which, when sitting in the seats, is around 38 to 39 inches. Now, you may see where I'm going with this. Down the road, when I upgrade to a receiver or processor and I want to add back surround channels behind my listening position, I've going to run into an issue if I want to make sure those tweeters in those speakers are placed at ear height like the rest of the bed channels, as the backs of the chairs will block the sound coming from those speakers at ear height. Now, this may not impact you at all, and that's just going to depend on you. I personally follow the Dolby setup guide when placing speakers, which recommends placing all bed channels at ear height to get the most effect out of Dolby Atmos, because it allows for the most separation between the bed channels and the height channels. Now, if that's not possible, they recommend placing your surround speakers no more than 1 1/4 times higher than your main left and right speakers, so that is a potential workaround. Now, if you don't care about what Dolby says or you prefer your surrounds higher, then this won't affect you, and that's okay. It's just something I haven't really seen mentioned in other reviews and videos, and I wanted to point it out as it may require a bit of reworking in regards to your surround channels. It's also not much of an issue though if you are fully reclined, so if that's how you like to enjoy your content, then this won't affect you much. Now, I say the best for last, price. Oh boy. I'm not putting a label on this section because I don't consider this a positive or negative thing really, it just kind of is what it is. Let's talk about price, because let's face it, these seats are not cheap. As of this recording, 2 of the Tuscany Ultimate Luxury Edition theater seats, which is exactly what Valencia sent me, cost around $4,000 US. Now, that's a lot of money and there's no denying that. These are not budget seats and they're not marketed as that, not at all. They are what I consider endgame level seats. There isn't an upgrade path above this in my opinion. Maybe something extremely custom, but otherwise this is pretty much it as far as I'm concerned. If you're looking to buy theater seats and want high-end luxury seats, then I do feel like these are really hard to beat. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful in any way, feel free to give it a like and share it with your friends and family. Do you have any Valencia seats in your home theater yourself, or you have questions that I didn't cover in this review? Then feel free to leave me a comment down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.